you ever feel like you're just stuck, running on autopilot with these old programs in your head that seem to be holding you back? Well, in this explainer, we're going to build a mental toolkit based on the incredible work of Paul McKenna. We're going to cover 5 super powerful techniques so you can finally take manual control and start creating the life you actually want.
Okay, let's kick things off with what is probably the most powerful idea in all of this material. It's this: the greatest hypnotist you're ever going to meet is you. So, what does that even mean? Well, think about it. You've been hypnotizing yourself your entire life with the stories you tell yourself, the beliefs you accept as true, and that constant chatter in your mind. This one idea, it's the key to everything.
So when we talk about this programming, what are we really getting at? Well, think of it like your mind's operating system. It's this whole collection of beliefs, stories, and habits you've picked up over a lifetime. A lot of it got installed when you were just a kid. And this programming, it just runs in the background on autopilot, and it dictates your results, your potential, and what you believe is even possible for yourself.
So, here's the game plan. We're going to build a 5-part mental toolkit together. First, we need to understand your mind's operating system. Then, we'll get into some tools for grounding yourself in the present moment. After that, we'll learn how to rewrite your inner script, build some truly unstoppable confidence, and finally, start programming your own future.
Okay, first things first. Let's really look at your mind's operating system. The core idea here is actually pretty simple. Your results in life, right now, are a direct reflection of your internal programming. It's kind of like having a super powerful computer, but it's running on ancient, outdated software. The computer's potential is huge, but the software is limiting what it can do. It's not about working harder, it's about upgrading your mental software.
And here's a principle you really need to get. Your results will never contradict your programming. It just won't happen. So if some part of you deep down believes, I don't deserve success, your mind will find a way, a sneaky way, to sabotage things to make sure your reality matches that program. Things like procrastination, self-doubt, fear of success, they're not character flaws. They're just symptoms of a software conflict.
All right, let's get practical. Here's our very first tool, grounding in the present. This is your go-to for immediate relief. You know, for those moments when your mind is racing with anxiety, or you just feel completely overwhelmed. It's all about pulling your focus out of some stressful, imagined future and bringing it back to the only place where you have any real power, right here, right now. This really lays it all out, doesn't it? An anxious mind just loves to live in the future, a future that doesn't even exist yet. It gets stuck there, filled with worries and all the what-ifs. But your real power, your ability to feel calm and take action, that only exists in the present moment. So step 1 to taking back control is to literally force your brain to come back to reality. So how do you do that? You use the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Think of this as a mental reset switch or an emergency brake for a racing mind. The second you feel that anxiety creeping in, you stop. You consciously name 5 things you can see around you. Then 4 things you can physically touch. Then you listen for 3 distinct sounds. Notice 2 things you can smell, and finally, become aware of 1 thing you can taste. This simple process forces your brain to engage with your senses in the present moment, a place where anxiety just can't survive. Okay, so we've got a great tool for that immediate relief. Now, let's go a little deeper. It's time to do the real work of changing our core self-talk. This whole next section is about rewriting your inner script, consciously taking charge of those negative, critical stories we repeat to ourselves all day long. Here's something wild. Your brain can't really tell the difference between the words you say out loud and the thoughts you think. Every single time you have a harsh, self-critical thought, you're just reinforcing those negative pathways in your brain. So, the makeover is actually simple. You just catch that harsh inner voice and you consciously soften its tone. Instead of "you're so stupid," you replace it with something compassionate and true, like "you're learning." You're literally reconditioning your brain to be your own ally.
So how do you actually do this in the moment? Use the redirect and upgrade method. It's 4 simple steps. 1. You catch yourself in that negative thought loop. 2. You literally say, "cancel that," out loud. It feels a bit silly, but it works to break the pattern. 3. You ask yourself a powerful question. What do I want instead? And 4. You upgrade. You can't just stop a negative thought. You have to replace it. So "this is impossible" becomes something like "I'm finding a way to make this work."
All right, let's keep building on this. We're moving into our next section, building unstoppable confidence. We've dealt with the negative stuff, and now we're going to proactively, consciously construct a state of genuine self-belief. And this isn't about being arrogant. It's just about owning your own competence. But this is the big question, right? How in the world do you build confidence when you just don't feel confident? Well, the answer isn't to fake it till you make it. Nope. The real answer is to gather evidence. See, your brain is like a detective, and it's constantly looking for proof to support your beliefs about yourself. So you have to consciously direct its attention to the good stuff.
And here are two incredibly powerful ways to do that. First, become an evidence collector. You're going to be a detective for your own strengths. Actively look for and write down every small win, every compliment you get, every single time you handle something well. You're building a case file of your own capabilities. Second, use the compliment replay. Think of a genuine, sincere compliment someone gave you. Close your eyes, hear it over and over, and really feel those good feelings. Then open your eyes, look at yourself in the mirror, and replay it again. You are literally conditioning yourself to feel good about the person you see.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most exciting section, programming your future. This is where all these tools really come together. The big idea behind all of this work is that you have the power, and now you have the tools to consciously write your own mental code. I love this statement from the source material because it gets right to the heart of it. We're taught our whole lives that real change has to be this slow, difficult, painful struggle. But what McKenna's work shows us is that when you learn to work with your brain's programming instead of against it, change can actually be incredibly fast. These small shifts, they create massive differences. So I want to leave you with a final question, and I want you to really sit with this for a moment. How would you change your life when, not if, but when you finally remove those old, outdated limitations? Because those limits that feel so real, so often, they're just programming. And now you have the toolkit to start rewriting it.